Hello and welcome everybody to the Join the League season number 3. It's going to be a tiebreaker game, so a best of one only. Extreme XPC International versus my carry can't be this Kawaii. And we're already in the draft. It's going pretty damn fast. I am solo for the moment because Blackadder will be joining me a little bit later on. But he will come probably before the draft is over. But in any case, Kawaii, they will get their hands on the Faceless Void here. I was actually kind of hoping to get the game without the Faceless Void actually. But unfortunately, nope, not gonna happen. I do believe Moscow 5 versus Bennett plus 5, the Faceless Void was ignored, at least in one game, I want to say. Not even banned. Second game wasn't picked, but just banned out. Oh, here is Blackadder. Hello, man.
Hello, let's jump straight into this next series, I guess. It's XPC International versus Kawaii, I believe.
Yes, it is. You are correct. You have the ability to read.
I would hope so. A slight sidetrack by me there, but nonetheless. Let's see what we can get in this game. Jakiro and Viper for Extreme XPC, and a Void so far for Kawaii.
Yeah, it's actually rather weird to see Jakiro as the first pick or all in all in the first two. But I guess a lot of the stronger heroes were banned out in the first ban phase already. But with the Jakiro, I mean, I haven't actually casted XPC International in a really long time, so I can't say I have too much information about them. But, I mean, Jakiro first pick, you must have something else in store, right?
You'd think so, yes. I mean, Jakiro as a first pick hero just doesn't generally make sense. I mean, they did have second pick of game, so they got Jakiro and Viper during their pick phase, but Jakiro generally isn't first pick worthy. I mean, there are so many other heroes that scream, pick me, one of them being Tinker, but now we have the makings of a very strong tri-lane of Shadow Demon, Viper, and Jakiro. So this could be a tri-lane, and we could be looking for two solos.
Yeah, it's definitely a possibility for them. It's actually really just the most casual way to lane, I guess, at the moment. You rarely see double dual lanes nowadays, unless you really get a strong combination, but Shadow Demon, Extreme XPC, will they go for that Mirana to follow up now? As center was already picked by Kawaii. Usually center Shadow Demon also a pretty strong combination, but I do love the Shadow Demon up against both the Skyref as well as the Faceless.
And Mirana does make some sense. I'll agree with you. You've got the Shadow Demon to start out with the disruption into the Mirana's arrow, but I still have to consider here, you've got the Void and Skywrath combination, and there's the Mirana that you correctly predicted. I mean, Centaur in the off lane, safe lane Void, Skywrath to support, could potentially be a Skywrath core, but I doubt it. Up against this kind of lineup, a Pugner wouldn't go amiss. I mean, other options we could look for Kawaii in terms of another core hero, a Puck would actually be very strong against this combination.
Yeah, it could be. Actually, Pagana was also banned out by Kawaii, so thank God that the Tinker was taken out. I think XPC might have just, not XPC, Kawaii would have gone for it otherwise.
Yeah, I would be inclined to agree with you there. But with Pugner and Tinker banned, Puck and Nortram both are very good picks here.
Yeah, I mean, I actually wouldn't mind seeing a Puck at all. It's just such an aggressive hero and has the ability to just go for those huge plays, just blink in and also make it out of there alive. But we'll see what their fourth pick is actually going to be at the moment. I mean, they have their offlaner, the Centaur, so Faces Void most likely will just be in the safe lane, tri lane. And I guess the most usual combinations of Skyref Mage to roam around like Wraith King or Earthshaker.
The Earthshaker could still work actually, but how aggressive do Kawaii actually want to be? I mean, I've not cast this team before, so I don't know what they have planning. You said that you used to cast them. Did they used to play excessively aggressive?
I mean, Kawaii, they've been more like the standard style. They haven't gone overly aggressive or anything like that, but I guess since most of the casting, well, never mind, it wasn't even before TI, I mean, I wanted to say that, but this season started after TI4, so they're playing more of the standard style, just go for the solid lanes and have a decent enough mid game lineup with a pretty decent amount of late game, just in case.
Well, in that case, I mean, an Earthshaker wouldn't go amiss, but you would want another core which can do a good amount of damage. I mean, Invoker, to some degree, would make some sense. I mean, Sunstrike, the defensive disruption target. I mean, equally from the mid lane, Templar Assassin, I will point out, but there's a lot of damage over time in terms of XPC's draft. There's the ES, and what do we really go for after this? Because you need a mid lane. You also need a mid lane that can do some damage and have an impact in late game.
You mean, I wouldn't mind an Invoker at all. It's just such a strong hero to pair up with the Faceless Void. And even like center off lane, if you can get the Hoof Stomp followed by a Sunstrike, it's actually rather easy to get kills on supports all of a sudden. But Extreme XPC banning out a Storm Spirit of all heroes, as Bristleback taken out by Kawaii themselves. I mean, the Storm Spirit ban, did you see it coming out from Kawaii?
It made a lot of sense considering the Skywrath Mage and the Earthshaker present already. I mean, if you charge in with a Storm Spirit off the back of, say, a Fisher, you're going to kill a target, especially when you've also got a Centaur for initiation. It does make sense, and it's a mid laner that can build up and carry into late game. Sure, not as good as, say, a Voker or potentially a TA, but as I mentioned, TA doesn't make sense in this game. Invoker is an option if they have an Invoker player. Storm is up on that list. There are a couple of others which are really heavily fringe picked, but I doubt we'll see any of them. So right now I'm going to predict a puck for Kawaii.
Oh, I wouldn't mind it at all. Like I said previously as well, just Puck always a fun hero to watch pretty much, but XPC themselves, how will they even run the Jakiro at the moment? Because that's how their lanes will just depend on heavy. I mean, if it's a Jakiro support, most likely will be just possibly even an aggressive tri-lane Shadow Demon, Jakiro, Mirana. Disruption into Ice Path, into Arrow. Pretty nice setup if you ask me. But if not, if they want to run a Jakiro core, they possibly have to get an offlaner or leave Jakiro safe lane solo up against a Centaur. Actually, a mid lane if that would be the case, I would prefer a mid lane Jakiro with safe lane Viper up against Centaur, because Viper just crushes that matchup so hard.
I'd be inclined to agree with you, but we're still looking for some kind of solo hero that's fairly tanky. I mean, a Dragon Knight wouldn't go amiss for XCP here. Then you get the aggressive tri-lane Mirana, the safe lane Viper, and a mid DK, which would equally bring some pushing power to the table.
Yeah, it definitely wouldn't be bad. I mean, usually nowadays it's so rare to actually see that neither team actually has like a proper pusher, at least one of them. And it usually you want to go for at least some form of push, just because if you win a fight, you can actually secure objectives after that as well, just to get farther ahead. Because if you only get kills, but the towers still stand, you're not taking the space away from the enemy, so enemy can still just get farm, get XP. But I guess Jakiro alone might be enough here, whereas Kawaii, they have nothing. They should. Centaur, return. Best push, man.
It could, of course, be a defensive tri-lane, but I doubt it. I mean, part of me thinks that with that draft from XPC, offlane Tide, mid lane Viper, tri-lane Mirana with Shadow Demon Jakiro roaming, that makes some sense. That's the best I can come up with. Unless it's a roaming Shadow Demon Mirana and a farming Jakiro. But there's the Invoker that I pretty much thought at some point would be picked up. They have the Invoker player, so no surprises here from Kawaii.
Yeah, it's just such a standard hero to pick up with the Faceless Void, and to be honest, if that combo actually lands, there's only like a handful of heroes who can actually survive that. Viper might be one with his corrosive skin. Tidehunter possibly, considering what item he has and how many points into Kraken Shell even, but in any case, to introduce the lineups as, knock on wood, but no pauses at the start of the game, man. But in any case, Supercell will be playing the Faceless Void, leaving a moment on the Skywrath Mage, with the last one being Sai on the Earthshaker in the tri-lane, with Kaiser on the Invoker for the mid lane, and Bashruk will play the offlane Centaur.
And of course, on the flip side of that coin, for XPC.Int, we have on the Jakiro Relax, I'm guessing. Relax. We've got Spartan on the Shadow Demon, Kaiser Soze on the Viper, we have Skanks on the Mirana, and finally, to round out this team on the Tidehunter, we have Madara.
I'm pretty sure it's pronounced Madara, but only because it's from anime. That's why I know. Anime stuff, man. Hell yeah. But doesn't really matter, because looking at the lanes now, Skywrath Mage hanging around the mid lane. I guess he just wants to wait a little bit to place down that Observer Ward, so that their mid laner Invoker would have actually some vision of incoming ganks. Unless they're smoked, of course, but at least force the enemy to smoke up. But what they don't know, at least I think they don't know, is that XPC International, they are leaving behind an aggressive tri lane.
Well, if it is going to be the aggressive try, which team do you favor? Which team are you going to bet on? Because as far as I'm aware, this is a best of one, a tiebreaker matchup in the JDL.
That is correct.
So which team are you going to favor to win this tiebreaker?
I'm gonna say Kawaii just because, man, Faceless Void, Invoker, plus Skyrock Mage, it is too damn strong. But looking at the tri lanes, actually, comparing them for a second, I do believe XPC has the advantage, just first of all because they're all ranged and disruption into arrow. Yes, the Earthshaker, if he's on point with his Fisher, might be enough, but I have my doubts if it's actually a long duration stun from the arrow.
Okay, I can understand that. I'm going to turn around and put my money on XPC just because I prefer their draft. They play more aggressively and they don't have a void.
Well, that's a good point to be honest. I mean, it's not like I'm a fan of Void, but it is a pretty damn strong combination that they potentially have. And that's just the threat of a Faceless Void as well. And I believe both you and me have seen it a couple of times that even if the team falls behind early, just the high ground defense, breaking high ground is so hard up against Faceless Void.
I'd be completely inclined to agree. I mean, high ground is always the goal at the end of the day, and Chronosphere has a really good ability for defending against pushes into the tier 3, but I'm not actually sure how long this game is going to last, considering XPC don't have much in terms of pushing power outside of Liquid Fire and just the hero's right clicks, so nothing special for pushing coming out of XPC, so part of me wonders, what is their timing going to be? What timing point are they going to look for pushing in?
Well, I guess when Shakiro hits... actually, well, since it's a mid lane Shakiro, they can start the pushing a little bit earlier, and at least thank God for Kawaii that actually Invoker, especially if you go Exort as well, is a hero that usually doesn't even really leave his mid lane for a really extended period of time early on. So that means that Shakiro actually can't freely harass the tower, because otherwise, if Kawaii had a mid lane hero who likes to gank, just roam around the map, Shakiro can take care of that mid tier 1 with no time at all, just having the levels from the solo lane. But top lane, Madara might be in some trouble. Haste Rune onto a moment actually. Does he have enough arcane bolts? He has a couple more of them, but Pashuk, I don't think he can get in range. Yes, Madara, he's gonna be fine.
That's the one thing about the Tide in that matchup. A Tide versus a Centaur, you have such ability to survive as a Tide. You just get your point in Crack and Shell, and you're pretty much unkillable.
Yeah, it's just level 1 Skyrock Mage, definitely not as scary. Maybe if they had Concussive Shot on top of the arcane bolts. But at the moment, the first Liquid Fire goes out onto the tower. It's level 2 from Relax. So, this tri-lane, XPC, it's working out wonders. Kaiser on the Viper, he's 14-9 compared to a 0-0 Supercell Faceless Void. He's getting nothing at all.
As long as he's getting nothing at all, that's actually going to be perfect for XPC. As long as they keep the Void down, they are golden. And you know what? It is a gleeful, morbid joy that I get when I see a Void 0-0 at 3 minutes into the game.
Yeah, it just makes you wonder that would it have been better to just leave him alone solo completely, have the Earthshaker roam around, but of course Earthshaker, he already saved the face of Void once at the moment with the Fisher. He dropped still pretty damn low, and do they want to go again? Spartan, he tried to angle in, but he got spotted out before, and so far, man, I am all for a moment Skyrock Mage just trying to roam around, create something across the rest of the map, since his presence probably wouldn't be able to do anything on the bottom lane as it is, but he's getting nothing accomplished. Is he running into a gank at the moment?
He might be. I mean, Shadow Demon will reveal, but there's the concussive shot just to slow down the Shadow Demon. No threat of a disruption here.
And actually, this Tide Hunter is also kind of crushing that matchup at the moment. 20-4 compared to 11-0. Anchor Smash, just such a pain in the ass to deal with for melee heroes. Mid lane, it's, well, at least Invoker is winning the mid lane lasted wise. The tower is suffering some damage actually more and more as Liquid Fire gets leveled up. But, I mean, effectively XPC, they are winning 2 out of the 3 lanes, and the third one, it's not like it's a huge loss as it is.
No, it's okay for XPC, considering how well they are keeping the Void down. I mean, the Void now has 3 last hits. I mean, they sort of failed on that front. But as long as they're keeping the Void down sufficiently, it should be fine. And unfortunately, we have a pause. I have a feeling you didn't touch wood when you said touch wood.
I did, man. I bet if you... It can be heard on the microphone as well, I think. Maybe, just maybe, but... In any case, I did. but the curse of Dota is too strong.
Fair enough, fair enough. Well, hopefully the pause won't take too long, but if we take a quick analysis of the performance so far between these teams, you can see a gold lead beginning to form quite heavily for XPC, and that's all because that Void has nothing. Experience-wise, 500 experience, of course, in way of XPC is an advantage, but if they keep this Void down, it may be all over for Kawaii. XPC are playing incredibly well so far.
Yeah, I mean, at least Face Void is getting some levels, so once he gets the Chronosphere, maybe they can set something up, although, having said that, oh, actually, will the arrow fall, or will it actually land properly? Oh, never mind, Time Walk. I actually thought for a second that it's gonna land spot on, but suddenly Time Walk happened on mid lane, relax, might be in trouble, Concussive Shot comes through, the Arcane Balls, the Sunstrike, will it connect with the Cold Snap? Yes, it will, they need a little bit more, though. And Liquid Fire with Dual Breath, actually, Kaiser, he was so damn slow himself, last Arcane Balls, the last strike, the Portal, oh my god.
He actually survived with less than 20 health. Now he's just going to salve up. He's fine off the back of this one. And now we get arrows starting to fly through. Does it connect? No. It misses the Invoker by a few millimeters.
Yeah, and actually, top lane, never mind, Pashok. He's not in too much trouble, but it's just a Liquid Fire plus Dual Breath. Invoker's right click, he just couldn't get any off almost, thanks to all the attack speed reduction.
And now we have the potential rotation actually in from Skanks as well as from Spartan. If they catch the Invoker here with a disruption, it could be all over, but he's been revealed, he's been pinged out, and, well, now you can just see trading blows between Kaiser and Relax. Honestly, I don't think they're going to be able to catch the disruption. They've already revealed their hand, and Skanks is lurking nearby as well. Could hit an arrow, but there's surely no hope of killing this Invoker, not when he knows the supports are nearby.
Well, let's see Skanks, how great his prediction skills are. He tried to go for it, cancelled it once. And actually the Forge Spirits isn't even angled so that he would catch the arrow himself, and never mind.
What the hell was that arrow?
Well, it's just, guys, I'm here. Invoker, back off, man. There's a Mirana here.
What in Divinity's Edge was that arrow? That was so far off the point. I mean, that's like me playing darts in a pub. Badly.
Yeah, actually it would have been huge if they gotten the kill right there, because it would have been just before Kaiser finished up his Hand of Midas, so 6.5 minutes in, it arrives to him in the mid lane. He's struggling a little bit just to the harass of Jakiro here, but he should be fine. I mean, really early Hand of Midas, and do you actually think that Supercell, if he finally gets some resemblance of Farm on the Void, will he go for a catch-up Midas of sorts as well?
It's entirely plausible, but he has to consider that they're already starting to lose towers. I mean, this tier 1 will go down soon. Can they wait out the time of a Midas? I mean, that'll take a good while to pay for itself, whereas he could go for his treads. But now we get a mid lane engagement. They've got the Stampede there. Relax will be the target, and First Blood, the way of Bashruk on the Centaur.
Yeah, man, he needed it so bad as well. He's 15-0 compared to 47-15. The Tidehunter is tripling the last hits of a Centaur Warrunner in a 1v1 matchup. I mean, usually the Centaur actually can't even get kills on Tidehunter if it just plays it correctly, but just completely crushed by Mother at the moment in this top lane. Viper bottom lane farming up like a beast as well. Going for that mech, which frees up Tidehunter to just rush that Blink Dagger, get the initiation. And he's level 8 already, so he has Ravage, he has 2 points into Kraken Shell, he's tanky as all hell.
He has 2 points in Kraken Shell, which is why he's doing so well versus the Centaur. Those 2 points plus an Anchor Smash, that Centaur will do nothing in terms of damage. And Return is also physical. So Return does nothing either.
Yeah, it's just that usually Centaurs, they don't even try to just right-click the Tidehunter early on, just stay far back, come in for the last hits, and once you get like level 3 into Double H, start just harassing Tide with the Double H, but in any case, they did get First Blood, so at least that's going in their favor, but just look at Relax, just setting down. Oh, never mind, Cold Snap, is there a follow-up? Sai, he's around as well, but doesn't have enough mana for his goddamn Fisher. Tower will not even get denied, but Relax, I think he's gonna lose his life for it, yes he is.
A tower for a hero, though, that is so heavily in favor of XPC.
Well, bottom lane arrow lands onto a moment as well. Sky of Mage, say goodbye to your life, so they might even get the tier 1 bottom here.
That would actually pay off, and considering it's basically a hero for a hero plus a tower, advantage XPC. Then again, it was a kill and experience onto the Invoker, so they do need to keep an eye on Kaiser, who does have his Midas, and he's going to get certain level acceleration off the back of that Midas. So it's going to be a curious little next few minutes, but this will be a tier 1 on that bottom lane, as you correctly predicted. And 2 tier 1s down now in favor for XPC in the space of less than 1 minute. this is going to become a very scary force very quickly. Then again, top lane, they drop the Stampede, but in comes the Chrono. They're going to be able to kill Madara, but they're going to need to kill Relax as well to be worth it. That was quite the investment of abilities, and that'll be an easy cleanup. Double Edge, and Bashrock will walk away.
Yeah, that was a huge rotation coming out now, and a little bit unfortunate that XPC went at the same time that Kawaii actually were preparing their own gank, and they might get the tower in return from this, possibly, although it's not like the push is fast by any means. Forge Spear is helping out a little bit. XPC, they're just split pushing the bottom lane in the meantime. But it was a huge kill, just because a moment. He's level 5 now. He got almost one whole level of just getting those 2 kills. Actually, are they waiting for the TP and are they setting the gank? Never mind, Madara, he blinks out.
Having that Blink Dagger already on the Tide, though, is going to be a pretty damn big thing. I mean, Blink and Arcane's already for Tide Hunter, 9 minutes in. Then again, in come the Mass TPs. Could be looking for a fight here, but that Ice Path is going to slow everyone down. Kaiser Soze won't catch much, but now we get the Blink aggressively from Madara. They catch the slow. You usually have Spartan here. Could look for a disruption onto a moment as well. They're going to put it onto the Invoker instead, and they're going to focus on bringing him down. Down goes the Invoker. Can they find anyone else off the back of this one? Arrow's going to fly through. Doesn't catch a moment, but they are going to look for the tier 1 off the back of this.
Yeah, I'm 100% positive that they're gonna get it as well. I mean, 5 heroes are present for them. Do they have the mech finish? Yes, they do. And actually, the Invoker, he had his Hand of Midas off cooldown as well when he died, so a little bit of a higher priority kill than it otherwise would have been, and I think they can just keep on going. They don't have the Ravage, but they have the mech, and Kawaii, they don't have the Chronosphere. No Mystic Flare yet for Skyriff Mage. Holy crap, they're just going to lose so much map control here so fast.
They are, and the towers will melt with the A, the liquid fire, and B, the attack slow from that liquid fire. It's going to be absolutely huge. And Ravage is up in 40 seconds, so if they do go for a prolonged siege, they may have Ravage up for the next defense. But the flip side of this coin, there is a Stampede ready. Bashrock's got a TP back towards the base. Can they hold this, though? I don't think they can. This is going to be an easy tier 2, and potentially the death ball is up for XPC. However, the tower does get denied by a moment, so that's one thing going the way of Kawaii off the back of this, at least.
To be honest, how the hell does a Skyriff Mage deny up against 5 enemy heroes? How does that happen?
With great care.
Yeah, it's really well done by him, just minimizing their losses at the moment. But look at the Tide Hunter here. I think he misblinked, probably.
He did. I saw him. He misblinked. He regretted his moment. But it does not matter that much. He does have Ravage, and we are looking for the next push. Things do go out from Kawaii. They know Madara is moving around here, but I think we're just looking for another tier 2 push. They have the ability to snowball and deathball. I mean, you've got the Jakiro, who's also going for an Aghanims on the Jakiro, actually. That's surprising. And Roshan will be the order of business. They're going to be tanked up by the illusion out of the Shadow Demon, and you can do that by force moving the illusion into Roche, for those that don't know. And you can have illusions tank Roshan as long as they don't swing at him. And with everyone here, it's going to be a case of, yes, let's do a quick Roshan, but pings are starting to come out. We do have the lineup, or at least the Centaur nearby, in favor of Kawaii to try to take Roshan or contest it, but I don't think they're going to be able to do it in time. Sunstrike's going to drop. They now know Roshan's going on, but Roshan's already half health, and the lineup from Kawaii is just too far spread across the map. This should be an easy Roche.
Yeah, it looks like it's going to be as well. I mean, even with the Sunstrike, they didn't get enough information about it, I guess, and it could have been huge, like 4-man hoof stomp. Look how clumped up they are with a Chronosphere to follow, but they just don't want to take the risk. I'm not too sure if they know Mirana is level 4 still or not, but maybe they were trading Moonlight Shadows or something as well.
But still, from where we stand, it's quite the advantage building for XPC, I think you'll agree.
Yeah, it's looking extremely good for them. I mean, kill scored 4-2, but the graph's still a different story. Almost a 5k goal lead for XPC. XP actually a little bit in Kawaii's favor, but only about 1,000 now that Roche fell.
Well, we do have a bit of a tower push coming up from Kawaii for this top lane, but is it going to be enough to hold them, really? You've got Bashrock nearby. He does have a dagger now on that Centaur, so they do have the Blink Dagger initiation that they need. But are they going to be able to defend their towers? No, they're not. They're going to lose that top tier 1, and they could potentially lose more. They go for the blink in onto Spartan, but he gets caught out of position. The hoof stomp misses, and now there comes the turnaround. They catch him with the gush. Stampede popped as well to try to escape this one. Arrow's going to fly in long, not going to impact though. Almost a millimeter away, but Ravage is going to fly, and they're just going to focus down Bashrock. If they kill the Central, that's going to be pretty damn huge, but they need to lock him down. Otherwise, it's a big use of Ravage. Blink forward, Gush is there again. They get another slow, and that's going to be his death.
Well, that was unfortunate to say the least for them. At least Kawaii they did get the tower and 2 other lanes were farming at the same time, but I still don't think it, or that he should have gotten caught like that. He tried to go for the Shadow Demon, got a little bit overeager there and just got caught out with his pants down, so Supercell, wow, he actually went for Power Treads and now going for the Mask of Madness, so wants to be able to fight as early as humanly possible for him. And do we have a level 6 on Skyriff? Yes we do, so at the very least we do have Mystic Flare now to just provide
Arrow
this
flies though.
burst.
They hit Supercell. He could take a lot of damage here. He does have a time leap though, and he could get away from this one. But thinking about it, he actually cancels the Ravage and decides to leap over the side, cancel the Chrono even, and they need to be careful. In comes the Chronosphere. That's going to do some good lockdown on Spanx, but is it going to be enough, especially with that Sunstrike? It is going to be, but Supercell may still lose his life to the Tidehunter. But no, in comes Bashrook, looking to lock him down with that Hoof Stomp. And surely Tide can't chase this any further. He could look for Bashrook. In fact, they get the Demonic Purge on Bashrook. He's in a lot of trouble. He has a Stampede in 15 seconds, but it does not matter. Viper Struck's going to be commit, and that's a very dead Centaur. Now we could have this push starting on this tier 2 on the bottom lane. It's only a creep wave, really, to be the momentum breaker here. There are no other heroes down here to defend us at this point. In the meantime, you've still got Relax farming. He's going to be going for the Aghanims, and he's honestly only 1,125 gold away from it. And an Aghanim's Macropyre is a lot of damage, and it will force Void out of his Chronosphere.
Yeah, it's going to be extremely good. I mean, even just Disruption setting the Macropyre under them, possibly Ravage into Macropyre, anything like that, it's going to be just so damn sick for them. And I mean, what's going to stop the push? The mech is ready, Aegis up on Shakiro, who actually has his double damage rune as well. Not using it quite yet to make the tower pushing a little bit faster, but do they have Ravage? It's still on cooldown for 30 seconds, so it makes it a little bit harder for them to push or just fight properly while the push is going on, but also at the same time, they know Chronosphere is on cooldown.
But here we go, they commit this with the Stampede, they're going to try to burst down the Jakiro, but the Disruption is there defensively, they can't finish him off with the double edge, and now comes the potential for turnaround. They've used the Stampede, there is no escape from this one, surely Bashrook's going to be Ice Path uphill, but it doesn't catch, unfortunately. It's still a tower for nothing in favour of XPC.
Yeah, I'm not too sure if they can actually, or if the push will be stopped. A nice Fisher comes out to try to delay things out, but Cliff is forced now, Relax. He has his double damage activated, Liquid Fire level 4. Actually, oh, they're going for a Sai as well. He's completely out of mana. Ice Path catches him just barely though. Madara, one more Anchor Smash might do the trick. Yeah, it's gonna be the kill, or he's actually two. Yeah,
he'll
two
go down
left.
to the dot, but the double edge is there. The DD rune is still up for Jakiro. Jakiro could get burst down still, especially now he's taking the Cold Snap. They're gonna force the Aegis, and Tier 3 still burning from that Liquid Fire. Do they have the ability to kill Jakiro a second time? Certainly thinking about it, but there's the concussive shot. Is that enough off the back of this one? No, we've got the Purge coming in. They're going to try to burst down Spartan in exchange. They will get him. Arrow's going to fly through. That doesn't catch, unfortunately. And now in comes the Ravage. They go for a moment, but a moment's on the high ground. They don't have vision, and that's a Ravage for nothing.
Oh, actually, the TPs are stopped as well. The Chrono up onto 2 enemy heroes. Chaos Meter to follow perfectly up on both of them. They actually, yeah, Koslam even spent for it, so they get 3 kills. Madara might be in trouble as well. Can he get the TP out? Anything to stop it? Yes, the Hoof Stomp is there. Arrow will fly into the Forge Spirit, and man, this was a horrible, horrible fight for XPC. This Ravage was just plain bad.
Indeed it was. That Ravage accomplished nothing, no kills off the back of it, and when you're retreating like that against a Void, you're just asking to be Chronosphered.
Yeah, it was a really nice Fisher as well to stop the Viper's TP. Otherwise, he would have been just safe. Maybe only the support would have died, but not to be so Kawaii. They strike back a little bit. They are still behind, but at least they didn't lose high ground quite yet.
No, not quite yet, but still going to be very, very rough for Kawaii off the back of this one. Sure, it's a 2,500 gold lead. Those kills did help. The experience is now quite a way in favour of Kawaii, just a bit over 3k. So I'm not going to count Kawaii out of this, but it's still going to be very difficult for them to defend their high ground against this kind of lineup. But Kawaii, late game, hell, even mid game, may have the advantage here.
Yeah, I mean, late game is going to be pretty scary from them. Of course, it's not like they have the hardest of right-click carries. Invoker, of course, can transition into one as well, and actually already has a level 2 Necrobook. He's number 1 in net worth so far. He's been just catching up really well. I remember a time when, yes, Invoker still had the Hand of Midas running, but Viper was like almost 2,000 net worth ahead. So it's been slowed down a little bit, most likely because Kawaii, well, they just took down almost all the outer towers, and after that, nothing else has... Oh, actually, they're gonna find Kaiser. Oh,
yeah,
man.
I was going to fly. Kaiser, you're not going to escape this one, sir. Eats the stun, eats the Viper Strike. There's no hope of escaping that.
Why was he even just hanging around there?
he was just hiding, waiting for everyone to pass. I don't think he had a TP scroll. In fact, he had 2. Why was he just hanging?
I think he had 1. He just bought the second one at the moment as he died, but still, he 100% had a TP. Oh, the Stampede comes out. Can they catch Relax? Well, he has a haste drone, so no, they cannot.
Good luck with that. Jakiro will get away, forces a Stampede for nothing, and Jakiro now has his Aghanims, of course. So Liquid Fire gets doubled, Macropire gets double the range and double near enough the duration, and just look at that. The damage is going to be absolutely sick. It tears down Supercell. And this is going to be the final tier 2 push coming out of XPC, and I think we could be approaching a high ground push at some point in the near future.
Yeah, I think they're gonna go for it, since actually Faces Void had to use the Chronosphere as well, and I think it was the Tidehunter as well as the Shadow Demon. So, Stampede and cooldown, Chronosphere and cooldown. It's probably one of the best times to push for XPC, and they have all of their ultimates, apart from the Macropire and the Viper Strike.
Aye, every one of their ults are online, and the Macropire, I'll point out, is a very short cooldown. It's only got 26 seconds left on it. It's one of the best ones for short cooldown creep and wave annihilation. Especially when you got Ice Path there as well. It's a perfect synergy with Ice Path. It's one of the better skills for it. And Madara is lurking nearby, has that Ravage, so we're looking for a fight. We're looking for a brawl.
Yeah, and Chronosphere still on cooldown for another 33 seconds as well. Holy crap, how can they defend this? I mean, I guess there's still the threat of Earthshaker coming in with Echo Slam. Unfortunately, it doesn't have a blink there quite yet, about 300 gold away. Center though, still has the blink, and they have to stay spread out, XPC that is. They're just slow sieging at this point.
Indeed they are, but now comes the Ravage. They're just going to focus on a moment. Equally, Kaiser takes some damage from the Macropire, but I don't think they can really stop this. Bashrik goes into the Macropire and just dies to it. There's just too much damage. Chaos Meteor combo drops. In comes the Echo Slam, but the defensive disruption is there. Spartan still going to be tanking a lot of the tower damage, but they need to catch him. In comes the Ravage. In comes the Chrono. It does catch the Shadow Demon. They will finish him off, but equally, you've still got 4 cores still standing from XPC. They've lost a Earthshaker on the side of Kawaii, and the tier 3 is still burning. But Madara taking a lot of damage. In comes the potential for a double edge. Doesn't quite finish off the Tidehunter, but that Fisher does. Now in comes Supercell. He wants more off the back of that one. Arrow's going to fly through, but they can't stop this level of aggression, this level of momentum exploding out of Kawaii. Now we've got Bashrik chasing down Skanks, and if they can kill Skanks, that's going to be perfect, but surely he has a leap to go. Yes, he does. Can he get away? Seems so. Got a Arcane Bolt flying from him, though. He needs to get away from this one. He didn't get away in time, and he will take a fall for it, and I'm surprised he didn't just leap over this direction here.
Yeah, I'm not too sure if he was trying to get the angle for it or couldn't, and I mean, even just purely running from this direction and leaping would have been better, to be honest, than what he did. He needed to avoid getting concussive shot there as well, but he just hesitated with the leap for a little bit too long, and Kawaii, in the end, they got actually a hugely successful defense there, although they couldn't even properly combo up any of their spells, really. Chronosphere, Chaos Meteor, as well as Mystic Flare, all of them were used separately. So, considering that fact, it went pretty damn well for them, and tier 3 still stands, but XPC looks like they're just gonna group up bottom lane once again to go and repeat what they did, and Tidehunter this time around, he has a pipe finished.
Well, I don't blame them for going on the bot lane again. They've already got that tier 3 near to death, and if they can just get one set of racks, it's going to be so detrimental for Kawaii. And you've got to consider, Kawaii, what do they have coming up online for this next fight? They've got Chronosphere in 3 seconds. Do they have Echo Slam? Not for another 46. They have Mystic Flare, but they have no mana on the Skywrath, and, well, Bashrok's ready with the Stampede.
Yeah, well, they will have at least the blink up on Earthshaker, so whenever the Echo Slam comes off cooldown, they will have the blink echo. Last time around, I do believe the echo was actually used only onto one hero. But Roshan time, just the dire advantage coming in favor for XPC here. So they will have the Aegis most likely up on the Viper, I would like to say, him just tanking it up in the front lines. Or I guess Jakiro could be one as well, who has a Veil of Discord finish. So this Macropire, if it ever connects properly, it is gonna burn just like all hell.
But the Sunstrike drops and they do reveal Roshan at least, but I don't think they can kill Roshan in time, and you're right, they will burn like all hell. That's a level 2 Macropire with Aghanim. So that's 175 damage per second for 14 seconds, amplified by 25% of course. It's going to be absolutely ridiculous the damage this Macropire does.
Yeah, I think actually, did they even get the proper Macropire in the high ground push last time around?
They got one that did some good damage, but didn't really hit.
Oh yeah, okay, I remember. I remember that. I think it was the center who just blinked into it, pretty much.
Yeah, pretty much. But now comes the tier 2 defense. In comes the mass TPs. They're going to go straight to Kaiser Soze. If they can finish him off, that's going to be pretty good. But defensive disruption comes through. And now they need to escape. They need to get away from this. But Madara leading the charge. If they kill the Centaur, that's going to be nice. The Viper Strike drops the too much amplification there, though, and they'll lose the Centaur. Can they get anything else off the back of this one? They got a mass retreat. Supercell's just going to jump over the ledge, and CY or Kai is going to just blink down. Don't really want to risk getting caught, but they do lose the tier 2 off of that, so it's a tier 2 for a Shadow Demon. Well, a tier 2 and a Shadow Demon for a Centaur.
I'd say it's well worth it for Kawaii at the moment. And actually, it's not like they're too far behind in towers. Yes, they are 3 towers behind, but considering that XPC, they got like, what, 5 towers destroyed really early on into the game. They are holding on. That's the best way to say it at the moment. Unfortunately, Faceless Void, he's not the fastest of farmers actually, and still struggling that little bit, but Invoker, just still number 1 in net worth, but only by like 70.
It's not that far at all in terms of net worth between the Invoker and the Viper, I'll grant you that, but is that little difference going to make any impact in the next team fight? I honestly don't think so. It's going to all be down to Supercell to hit a good Chronosphere.
Yeah, I mean, he really needs it at this point in time with just a proper follow-up from the Invoker as well. So, really, whoever gets the initiation might just win the fight straight out. If it's Madara blinking in once again with a pretty nice Ravage, it might just be all over for Kawaii. And of course, even if the Chronosphere comes out pretty nicely, but Madara doesn't get caught, the counter initiation potential is just so good with a Tidehunter.
I'll completely agree with that. Ravage can be the counter-initiation spell of the game, and it's honestly what they need to do with it. They need to wait for the Chronosphere to come up, and then it's a case of, oh, wait a second, Ravage.
Well, they are just going for the push at the moment. Kaiser, again, they're finished, working towards the BKB now as well. Madara actually going for a straight-up refresher orb by the looks of it, slowly building towards the Oblivion Staff, or actually has it finished. And the Fisher blocks off the creeps, but Liquid Fire still comes through. Arrow, will it actually land onto Sai? No. Woo!
That was quite close. I almost caught him in the ass, but as we stand, that tower is still burning down. In comes the pipe out of XPC, and the pipe might just be enough. They're going to try to go on it, but the Viper Strike drops into a moment, and they're going to try to focus down the Skywrath Mage, but Supercell's ready to go. Now comes the Stampede. Mystic Flare drops on no one, and a moment will survive a few seconds longer, but equally in comes Bashrook. In comes the Ravager. That's only on 1. That Ravage was questionable in my mind at best, and Kaiser will be the one to come in, ready to fight and defend this, and Supercell blinks in, Chronosphere on 2, catches Kaiser Soze and Madara, but is that enough? It might be. Defensive disruption is there though, and he gets caught in the Macropod. He's just burning. There's so much damage, but in comes the Echo Slam. It forces the Aegis, but nothing else after that, and you've still got Madara who's just chewing away at the Skywrath Major. You lose the Skywrath of that, and there have been no deaths on the side of XPC yet, and the Sunstrike doesn't catch Relax either, so it's going to be a case of this is Rax.
Yeah, just excellent positioning from XPC, making it so that not too many heroes get caught by the Chrono, or even if a lot of them got caught in the Chrono, nobody would actually be at an angle where Chaos Meteor and Different Blast could damage multiple of them. And of course, Kawaii, man, the Centaur jumping in like that with no proper follow-up. Once again, Skywrath Mage getting caught before he can set up Mystic Flare with anything else. And now, oh, the Kaiser Ice Path does actually miss. Arrow lands, but he's already in the ghost form.
He'll still burn a little bit over. That's a double stun coming out of the Centaur War Runner, but it does not matter. They're going to almost lose the Jakiro. They force the defensive disruption. Do they have another Chrono? Yes, they do. This is a good Chrono on 3, but the Jakiro dies immediately. Kaiser will be the focus of this one. In comes the Sunstrike. It just goes straight through the pipe. It kills the Shadow Demon, but equally Kaiser Soze will take a fall. Maybe they overextended in this mid lane. You still got the Tide standing, but is the Tide going to be enough alone? No, not a chance in hell. He's trying to get the refresher, and he's a good way towards it, but still, he will fall in the base alone.
Well, they did lose 1 Rex, but I actually thought they might lose a little bit more, but just Supercell having that Aghanim Scepter 60-second cooldown on the Chronosphere is actually what they might need to start taking fight after fight after fight, since none of their other spells are actually that long cooldown as well. Chaos Meteor as well as the Mystic Flare, they will always be available when the Chronosphere is.
I'll completely agree, and that is a devastating combination of spells, like we have all seen, all know. But for all intent and purposes, we do see a counter push now coming out of Kawaii, but will it be enough?
Oh, the Macro Pyre, man. It's like, yeah, this push has been stopped.
Yep, that is the strength of the Macro Pyre, and it's only got that 1 minute cooldown, so by the time they get to the tier 3s again, it's going to be all too late. But in comes the Chronosphere. That actually catches 2. They're going to look to bring down Spartan, especially with that Meteor. It actually finishes off the Mirana equally, and they're just going to retreat off the back of bringing down Mirana. You get the defensive Yules there, buys some time, and that's an okay pick-off, but it did cost a Chronosphere to acquire. Sure, he's got a Aghanims on Supercell, though, so it's only a 1-minute cooldown equally for the Chrono.
Yeah, and actually, I was rather surprised that the Mirana wasn't even caught in the Chronosphere. He had a little bit of wiggle room, he was still caught in the trees, but he wasn't actually stuck in the Chronosphere. But they get the 1 kill, and a little bit unfortunate that they actually didn't get the Shadow Demon who only has 1000 HP, but oh, never mind, it's just an illusion. I hope the Demonic Purge though spent on the illusion.
Well, that's at least one thing going in favor of Kawaii. Forcing the Demonic Purge on Illusion wastes the cooldown. Sure, it instantly kills the Illusion near enough, but I think that's a worthy trade in the end of the day. I can't think of much better than that. But I'm wondering what level of push we're going to see coming out next and from which team, considering you once again have Kaiser lurking quite happily in the dire jungle. Oh well.
Yeah, I mean, he got caught once doing almost the same thing. But now he TP's back before actually any ganks come from XPC themselves. Although, speaking of ganks, Skanks together with Spartan, they want to catch somebody.
Well, if they can catch anyone, that'll be good. And they're still lurking. They're ready to try to fight, but Kawaii, they'll get and evac everyone away, including the Earthshaker.
Yeah, actually feared for Earthshaker a little bit, but Supercell, he wants to go in. Mirana is far enough, or easy the Chronosphere catches him immediately. Are you kidding me? Sunstrike to follow Disruption. Actually didn't even use it on Skanks. What? Why? Now the Hoofstomp with the double H comes from Mystic Flare. He's there as well. And they're gonna get the kill, I think. The Macropire though. Ice Path as well by Shock. He didn't activate this BKB. Was that a mistake? It might have been. Demonic Purge slows him down. Mother. Pipe activated, and Spartan, man, he survived with like 15 HP.
Indeed, that was very close. And now we get the Ravage commit. They're going to find a moment, but they can't bring down the center of the back of the line. He still had his BKB up, and they need to find more off the back of this. They've just invested Ravage, and they've only got the Skywrath. That's a Ravage for a support. That's pretty big in favor of Kawaii, not being able to use that Ravage to defend the next, say, Chronosphere. And when I say next Chronosphere, I mean in 20 seconds.
Oh man, look at this Spartan. He's gonna find a regen rune. If he goes a little bit further, yeah. It's like, oh, score! I don't have to go all the way home.
Yep, and they might look to get some kind of momentum going off the back of that one. I mean, they've got the Skywrath down. They're lurking for Roshan, but he's not quite up yet, and Roshan would certainly help them in terms of their next fight, but they're starting to lose coordination in my mind. They're losing momentum. The lineup from XPC is designed to win early, and we're past the 30-minute mark now.
Yeah, I mean, in the last fight, when the Chrono came out, if the Shadow Demon had disrupted him a little bit earlier, it prevented the Sunstrike damage from coming out, maybe, just maybe XPC, the rest of it, would have just gotten there in time for a proper fight. And of course the Ravage, once again, only killing Skywrath Mage, Centaur getting the Blink out before, and even if he had the BKB there anyway, but Roshan actually almost spawns immediately. How lucky did XPC get with this short just respawn duration?
Quite lucky, and if they can bring down the Roshan without Kawaii knowing, that's going to help out certainly. But we've seen Sunstrikes falling, Pinks come out now onto it. Here comes the Sunstrike, they know what's up, but they need to finish up Roshan. Roshan's at half health. Can they get there in time? I don't think they can. He's dying too quickly.
Yeah, it's gonna be too late, so Kawaii now, they have to defend up against an Aegis as well as a Cheese at the moment. No matter how close is he? Actually, oh my god. He's only about 700 gold away from that Refresher Orb being finished, make it 500 now. So we might be looking at a double Ravage the next time XPC is pushing with just 2 extra lives as well.
Well, those 2 extra lives will certainly help, but this is going to be still starting to become very rough for XPC. They are losing momentum. You've got Supercell coming online, Mask of Madness at Aghanims, 3k in the bank, could be looking for a Butterfly next, it would not surprise me, and the Void's damage is starting to become scary. They need another set of racks to really offset this Void.
Yeah, I completely agree. I mean, if you leave a Void just alone for too long, you're gonna regret it 100%, but are they gonna use a Chrono to just kill off Skanks at the moment? I think they might, but oh no, they need to get Spartan as well if they want to get the kills.
Oh, there it is. That's a beautiful Chrono. Skanks will fall, then they're just going to drop the Sunstrike. That's going to be more than enough, especially with the Meteor combo coming out of Kaiser. That is a huge, huge double kill.
Yeah, they even used the Stampede for that, but in the meantime, Refresher finished on Mother as well as Relax, getting himself a Sheepstick. So they're also getting the next set of items. Actually, do you think Faces Void? I mean, I think he probably has to go for damaging items, but do you think he could be thinking about a BKB?
I certainly think a BKB could be a good item, yes, but it's a case of BKB could be a game-losing item in this regard. Does it really grant you enough? Mid lane, however, we do see the combo coming in. Echo Slam drops. They're going to go straight with CY on to relax, but there is just so much potential for damage coming out of the dire side if they're not careful. Everyone's swimming in the macro pile. They'll lose the Jitiro, but in comes the Ravage. Ravage number 1. Do we have the second one? No, that was the second one. Equally though, in comes relax. Could potentially go for more of a fight, but Fish is there. They're going to block it up as well as the BKBs. That's going to be more than enough. And now they drop another Chrono. They're going to look to bring down relax. Arrow's going to fly through though, dodged by the Faceless Void, and they can't really stay and fight that one, even if Skanks walks into the Chronosphere. Supercell cannot hang around, and this could be the look of a good fight. Gush will go there, slow down the Void a bit, but he's just going to time walk out. They can't risk it.
To be honest, that Chronosphere was a huge mistake by the Faceless Void. I mean, they didn't have the Skyref, they didn't have Invoker, Echo Slam was already used, Stampede was still on cooldown. I don't know what he wanted to accomplish with that, but yes, it's a 60-second cooldown, but it is still 30 seconds on cooldown still. Arrow will not land on Sai. No Echo Slam, no Chronosphere. I think this is going to be Rax potentially here.
If this is a second set of racks, it might have just swung back in the way of XPC. I mean, they said they needed a second racks, a second full set to offset the Void, and sure, the Void is alive. How long till he has a Chrono? 10 seconds. 10 seconds XPC have to decide this game. They're going to drop the Viper Strike. They're doing some good damage to Bashrook, but in comes the Stampede. Where's the Chrono? In it comes. That's a big Chrono. On 3. Locks down Spartan as well. This is pretty damn big. Spartan will fall first. Madara's taking a good amount of damage, but he's going to be able to tank up a fair amount. But in comes the Deafening Blast. In comes the combo. Double Edge. Bashrook will finish off one, but he pops his BKB now. One more right click. The Viper will finish him off. BKB also popped by Kaiser Soze. And as long as he's still standing, this is a very hard one for Kawaii to fight. Sure, they did kill 2, the Jakiro and the Shadow Demon, but they lost a tier 3, they lost a Centaur, and they lost half of the life on that melee Rax as well as the range Rax. The melee one will regenerate, sure, but is it enough?
Well, it's gonna have to be enough, at least for the time being, and I can't just help but think how different this fight could have been if the Invoker had been alive like 3 seconds earlier to actually follow up into the Chronosphere, because it was a pretty damn good one, to be honest. And well, they hold on, barely, but they do it nonetheless, and Invoker didn't have to invest into a buyback, and suddenly 5.3k in the bank. Is this a sheepstick?
This is most likely a sheepstick, yes. I mean, a sheepstick will give him the control he needs, but... Okay. I can actually get behind the Aghanims if he can pump out enough spells. That's a big difference, though. The sheepstick and the control a sheepstick gives versus being able to cast all of your spells. And I'm not sure. I can get behind the idea of the item, but I don't think it's the right choice in this game.
Well, to be honest, I mean, in a sense that they're like, and also looking at Supercell, he's going for a Refresher Orb. So, in a sense, they do actually just need more damage. They need more spells from the Invoker to be spammed out. I mean, Sheepstick, the disable is nice, but if you can't bring anybody down during the disable, it might be the right choice. At least he retains enough money for a buyback now as well. If he had come for a Sheepstick, it would have been just completely dry. So he will have at least like one item that boosts him before the next fight. But man, I'm not too sure either, but we will see how well they can work it. Actually, Refresher Orb finished, man. Double Chrono.
Double Chrono is going to be a big one, and here comes the number 1. It only catches Kaiser Soze though. He pops the Ravage, but equally here comes the second Ravage, ready to go. Kaiser Soze will fall, but still, double Ravage is going to clean up so many of these heroes. They lose 2, but it's an instant buyback by the Invoker, and a kill on the Void. That is huge. That is staggeringly huge. Relax will survive this one, but there's still good damage being thrown into the racks occasionally by the Liquid Fire. But it seems Necro 3, they're going to potentially go for the re-engage here. But without the Void, without the Echo Slam, can you really re-engage into this one? I don't think you can. I think it's going to be up to XPC. They can decide to re-engage.
Yeah, I mean, they did use the double Chrono, and actually, not the double Chrono, the double Ravage, I mean, for XPC. Double Chrono from Faces Void. First Chrono, not the greatest by any means. Second one, also didn't accomplish all too much because, well, by that time, almost everybody on Kawaii was almost already dead thanks to the double Ravage. And the Faces Void actually, he just ran into the Macropyre and burned to death himself, more or less. So, I don't know, it was a really awkward and forced engagement from Kawaii.
Well, you know, I have to point this out. Standing in the fire, bad idea.
It most certainly is indeed. Actually, Chaos Meteor comes through, doesn't do any damage at all. Well, it kills off the creeps a little bit, but even that wasn't all that successful. And Macropyre comes through, Ice Path catches Kaiser as well. He's hexed up in the Macropyre. He does escape the arrow at the very least, and well, they are still holding on. Faceless Void will respawn with a Chronosphere, and they still hold on to the set of racks.
Very surprisingly so, yes. But if that arrow would have hit on the Invoker, by the way, he would have died in that fire.
Yeah, it's just such a strong ability, especially with the Aghanim buff. 14-second duration there. Oh wow, but what is the next goal for XPC? And actually Viper, he still has his cheese as well, but has just been unable to use it.
Well, the next goal for XPC, they need this middle set of racks. I said they needed a second full set of racks to rival the Void, and I still stand by that. Considering the Void now has a refresher, and he's only got 41 seconds on that cooldown left before we have another double Chrono to go, and equally the same for double Ravage. We're going to wait out the timer it takes for the refresher orbs, and then we're just going to see another clash. It will be mid lane, it will be over those racks.
It might be, looking at Roche, it can potentially spawn in about 50 seconds time if XPC get lucky again. Do they have any other big items coming out? Well, Shiva's card was finished on Tidehunter, so that's actually pretty damn huge. Double Shiva's card with the refresher. But other than that, doesn't look like anything big is on the horizon. 2.7k on to relax as Jakiro, but possibly saving for buyback plus Boots of Travels.
Well, buyback plus Boots of Travels could be a good order of business, but I don't think so. I just don't think so in this game. I don't think we're going to be in a uber late Boots of Travel type of game, personally. And sure, there is potential for it, but I think other things will be more important. And now we get a smoke. We've got a 3-minute respawn time on Roshan, the maximum possible respawn.
Yeah, it didn't luck out twice in a row at the moment. And to be honest, they needed this one more than the last one, I believe. But they smoked up both, and looks like they're going in opposite directions.
It's going to be a case of ships in the night. If there's going to be a clash, it might be in the jungle, maybe around the ramp area. But still, they're going to go in and check Roshan to find it's not available, unfortunately. They're going to drop a good amount of wards around the pit, though. That's going to help out off the back of the smoke. And this is really refresher gaming.
Yeah, it is indeed. So, actually, oh, they get the Ravage number 1 onto Supercell. Where's number 2? The arrow will follow up perfectly. He doesn't have buyback either. They need to keep him alive. The Stampede comes out. He is still alive, gets the time walk away. And actually, Pashuk might fall down. The Hex was used. Ice Path catches Kaiser Invoker. There's the second Ravage. Catches 2 enemy heroes with the Shiva's card to follow Invoker. Dead without the buyback. Centaur, he does have one, but can they hold on without the Invoker spamming the Chaos Meteor Deafening Blast?
I think they don't think they can, and they get a buyback from the Centaur. And I'm honestly surprised Void survived that, considering he was initiated on so heavily, even eating that full duration 5-second arrow.
Yeah, I mean, I guess XPC just couldn't follow up fast enough. I mean, Tidehunter, yes, he got a nice blink, and for a second I thought he's just gonna pop the secondary Ravage as well, since it would have been such a high priority kill. But they don't get the towers just because they don't have any Ravages anymore, and the double Chrono was still available, so I guess that was enough just to make them back off.
I get that feeling, yes, but I believe it's time for another tier 3 push. And XPC are going to start barreling down this middle lane. They have everything with the exception of Moonlight Shadow for 1 minute and the refresher double Ravage for 90 seconds, 100 seconds if you count the refresher.
And actually, looking at the graphs, XPC almost like the first time in this game they have an XP lead actually. Gold about 12,000 as well, so they are looking good indeed. Invoker though, they need to hold on for 25 seconds. Can they do it?
I don't know. I think it's clearly XPC's time to push. They need to get something while this Invoker is dead. But in comes the first Chrono. This flare drops, but the defensive disruption is there. And I don't think they're going to find anything off the back of that one. We do have that refresh potential, though. Then comes in the second one. They're going to try to bring down Relax, and they will successfully do so with the damage of the Skywrath Mage. But equally, Spartan will bring down the Central Warren Knight in the back lines, and now we get a buyback, however, immediately from Jakiro. In comes a good Echo Slam gem on the deck. They will make it that a double kill for CY, and that's really good for them, but still, Kaiser Soze in the base, trying to tank up what he can, has Relax behind them as well. How does Relax survive? He has Travels, he did buy back and go Travels. Macropyre is going to drop, dealing Supercell some good damage, and this Jakiro is just doing so much work, but the EMP will drop, wiping out a good chunk of their mana. They'll lose the Earthshaker off the back of this, though, and Kaiser needs to go back to the well.
Yeah, it's just excellent buyback from Relax coming back in like that. Actually helping out a great deal, otherwise I think they couldn't have just continued with the push anymore, but Range Rex fall down. They are still alive. Cold Snap want to relax and they're going on to Mother actually. Silence. The Mystic Flare comes out to he's dropping down to half HP. Shiva's card activated, Pipe as well. And suddenly he is just unkillable for a little while. But Melee Rex, they stand.
Not for long though. I think we're going to see a re-engage off the back of it. EMP's going to drop. It will wipe out the rest of Kaiser Soze's mana, but I don't think that's enough. They lost their range racks. They sure got a few kills, forced to buy back on the Jakiro. I don't think that's enough from Kawaii. I honestly don't.
Yeah, especially considering that there's still a double Ravage for Madara available. He's a little bit low on the mana. I think he actually wouldn't have enough for a proper combo without a couple of Arcane boosts to help him out, but they do back off for now. Roshan is up as well. But there's a smoke from Kawaii. They know that if they give away Roshan, it's all over for them. So last ditch effort, I think.
Well, if they get anything off the back of the smoke, that's going to be absolutely huge. If they can get Roshan, that will even be better. But just look at the lineup of XPC, all on that high ground, all waiting and lurking. They're going to check with the smoke. There's nothing up near the top of the pit. They're going to probably check near the Ancients. And as long as Relax doesn't get caught, it should be good. Arrow's going to fly through. Does impact Roshan, realizing there's nothing in the pit yet. And well, Skanks needs to be very careful, especially considering the Earthshaker, but that's a blink away as well as a leap away simultaneously. No one really wants to be the one to break this temporary truce.
Yeah, so funny that both are like, oh crap! And just as fast as possible, get the hell out of there. But I think this Roshan is going to be XPC's now that the smoke has worn off from Kawaii. They do scout it out with his Sunstrike, or at least that Roshan is available. But can they actually do anything about it? They would have double Chrono. And in a Roche Pit, it's probably one of the best places to fight.
But equally, double Ravage is going to be available as well.
That's true, man. And Tidehunter, his positioning has been pretty damn great so far. I don't think he has gotten caught in a single Chronosphere this game.
One around the 20-minute mark.
So yeah, pretty early on, but from there on, it's just always counter-initiating after the first Chrono, more or less, with that Ravage, double Ravage. But Roshan, man, they aren't getting it. Although it's not like anybody's farming at the same time for either team.
Well, if it's a stalemate around Roshan, I suppose it's okay. But someone somewhere should be getting some form of levels of experience, you would think. And CY will at least try to build his Aghanims, but he's still a long way off. He was forced to buy back in that previous fight, and he went for a Veil of Discord on the Earthshaker as well. So both teams have Veils, but just take a look at this spread. Supercell farming the enemy jungle. You've got Kaiser up on the top lane. Down in the friendly jungle, you've got a Moment. Talk about a large spread across the battlefield.
Yeah, it's actually really scary if Kawaii were to get caught in the jungle like that with 3 of them. They would lose the fight 100%. But on the same note, if for example they had just solo Chrono Madara, gotten the kill somehow, but they didn't risk it. Since usually you would think, at least in this stage of the game, that where there's one hero, there are more.
Quite possibly. Sunstrike's going to check Roshan again. They realize the Roshan is underway by his presence not being there, but can they really rotate and do something about this in time? They've got CY as well as Basharok ready to engage. Where's the rest of the team, though? They need more than this. They need Supercell on that Void down there if they really want to fight in the pit. And Roshan half health and falling slowly, but they're not going to be able to kill it in time. TP back coming out of Madara. Equally, in comes the Shiva's Guard, and here we go. Chrono number 1 going to fly in, but still Madara taking a large amount of damage. In comes the defensive disruption. That makes him avoid the Meteor completely, but second Ravage. The second Chrono is popped. In comes the Macropire to stop this. And now it's a case of you have both Ravages ready to go. Can they catch Kaiser in time? No, they can't. And equally, Supercell is gone.
Well, they are trying Roshan's side. Oh, he eats an arrow. Oh my god, Kaiser is gonna go in. If they get the kills here, it's gonna be all over. BKB activated from Viper. They use Stampede. Will it be enough? It might be, although Earthshaker, well, don't think he can escape this.
No, equally Basharok will go down to Kaiser Soze. ES needs to get the hell out of dodge. He's going to drop the Fisher. That's going to buy him some time. And if they chase the Earthshaker, it's going to be a good thing here for Kawaii. But it's only the Tide with the back of an arrow that impacted as well. That's going to be a good kill going the way of Madara. But more importantly, it's Roshan for XPC.
Oh, wow, and Jakiro somehow caught himself a Skyraf Mage as well. Hex actually didn't even need the Macropire, so that's finally going to be Roshan. 3 heroes down for Kawaii. Man, Supercell, he's trying to split push top lane. Actually, is he gonna go for the kill? Yes, he is. Chronosphere. The Eul Scepter is there buying some time, and Supercell, can he stay there? Sunstrike comes through, and he will get that 1 kill. TP out afterwards. Possibly Ice Path, no. Oh my god.
Ice Path cancels it, but he's got a time walk in 1 second. He's going to be gone, surely. Supercell doesn't really want to risk this one, and he needs to get the hell out of dodge, but in comes the Ravage, and that's going to be one hell of a kill, bringing down the Faceless Void.
Well, he does have buyback at the very least, but actually might even have double chrono. Oh, never mind, not double chrono, but that one chrono by the time the push arrives. But the last time they used the double chrono for nothing, I mean the Tidehunter, he dropped down to only 1.4k HP. Yes, the Shadow Demon was there with a nice disruption, but it's just so late in this game that only an Invoker and Faceless Void might not be enough unless Invoker also has a Refresher Orb.
I'm completely inclined to agree off the back of this one, and now we got that pipe. They're going high ground, and they want this Millirax. This Millirax has been a blight for the last 20 minutes, and you get a buyback from the Faceless Void, and just look at how many people fall back. In comes the Stampede. They're going to look for more off the back of this one. They go into Kaiser Soze, but he drops Viper Strike onto the Centaur, and could potentially bring down the Centaur off the back of that one, but he does have friends nearby. Arrow's going to fly through long range, doesn't quite impact, and everyone should be safe for now. They've got that Moonlight Shadow, Cover of Darkness. They want to get this Millirax. This Millirax needs to die. It is just constantly regenerating back up to full health. And if they can finish it off, that's huge.
Yeah, I mean, they should be. They have Cheese, they have Aegis as well. Viper Strike onto a moment, it's dropping low, Liquid Fire continues on the Millirax, but Supercell, he wants to go in, he gets hexed up immediately. There's the Ravage onto 2 enemy heroes. Shiva's card, Mystic Flare is there on to relax with a Chaos Meteor, Echo Slam as well, but this, oh my god.
It completely whiffs. It completely whiffs, and now they're just going to go for more off the back of that one. They're going to look for side. Equally, down goes the Centaur War Runner. The Aegis is popped on the Jakiro. You still got that Macropire doing damage across the board. Sai's going to go down, and equally, you've got Kaiser Soze doing some work, but he's going to pop the cheese. Not going to go down to the Sunstrike. 2 more right clicks could be enough. Mystic Flare's going to go down. Completely airballs, though, and Kaiser will go down to 1 more right click. But no, he's surviving for a few seconds longer. GG is, however, called by Supercell. He realizes we can't hold this one, and the game, as well as the tiebreaker, goes to XPC.
Oh man, the Void didn't even get the secondary chrono off in this fight, and just Aegis plus G is a little bit too strong to handle. Plus, of course, overall, really well fought by XPC, just great positioning. And Shadow Demon, he had so many great defensive disruptions in this game.
Indeed he did. Indeed he did.
But guys, this is not even it for the night. We will have at least 1 more game on this channel, depending on how long it goes, maybe even 2. But it's gonna be XPC, the same team that you saw here, up against MIT, Mikara in Denebris, however it is pronounced, but we will have it, and it should actually come out straight after because it was supposed to start 8 minutes ago. So stay tuned, don't go anywhere, and as always, if you liked us, you can follow us. The necessary links are below the stream. And Blackadder, where can they follow you?
They can find me everywhere, Mr_Blackadder, of course, no C in that. And I'm on Twitter and Twitter under that name.
So guys, there you have it, and see you in not game number 2, the next tiebreaker match, XPC versus MIT.